Okay, so let's talk about getting into our head voice register. So, just to review a bit about the vocal registers. So, your chest register is that register that you speak in and or you sing something easy in, meaning that you don't feel any strain. It's not super high pitched. And the reason it's called the chest voice register is because the resonance is in your chest when you're speaking or singing something that's very comfortable. You'll feel some vibration in your chest. The head voice register is going to be higher pitched singing, and it's especially at first it's a lighter sound. It's not as heavy or doesn't have as much girth. Um, so the best way, at least for me, to describe it is if we were to emulate kids playing with their toys, their fire truck toys, for example. So, fire truck or an ambulance or a police car, and the siren's going woo. Okay, so that high pitched sound, those high notes there, that would be essentially head voice. When you're making those kinds of higher pitches, you'll get a lot of resonance in your nasal cavity, in your head. If you touch the back of your head, right where your neck sort of joins with your skull, and you go woo, you'll feel some vibration, some resonance there. So there's a couple of good ways to find your head voice. One is just to emulate that fire truck sound. Now, head voice and falsetto are similar but not quite the same vocal coordination. Falsetto, if you were to see pictures of the vocal cords while they're singing in head voice and while they're singing in falsetto, they do two different things. Head voice, the vocal cords, the aperture of the vocal cords kind of zips up a bit, and about 2/3 of them are not vibrating, whereas falsetto, only the outside edges of the vocal folds are vibrating, and it's a much more breathy sound, like that. That's more of a falsetto, and so they're similar in that they're high pitched, but they're different in how they sound. So falsetto is lighter, has breathier. Head voice is more full, and so that's often some people get the two terms mixed up. Both are desirable. Most of the time, we want to, though, these days, learn to make that head voice register nice and strong. So, yeah. So let's try practicing how to get into that head voice. So, if we go like this, woo, try starting low and going up high using that woo sound. So repeat after me. Ooh. And it doesn't matter how high you go, and it doesn't matter if it sounds quite broken up and light at the beginning. These things take time to develop, and the exercises that we'll be doing will help you with that. Let's try that again anyway. So here we go. Repeat after me. Ooh. One more time. Ooh. So you may have noticed when I came down there, I had a little bump. Ooh. There's a little notch there. I guess I'm maybe a little bit out of shape, but there's a bit of a notch there, and that's kind of telling me where my bridge is or my break is between registers. When I went up, it was fine. Coming back down, not as smooth as it should be. Some days are better than others. So we can eventually erase that little notch. But that's a good indicator of where your bridges are, or where the difference between chest voice and head voice is. Okay. Another thing you can do is say the NG sound like hung, and do the same thing with that. For example, and make it kind of whiny. And that can help. Now, we never sing using that sound, but it's just a good way to work the muscles in your vocal cords to help them to get used to getting into that head voice register. It's important to use your head voice because if you try to hit a higher pitch in your chest voice register, you might be okay for a while, but after a while you'll hit your plateau, and if you try to push it too far, you'll end up hurting yourself eventually. And although when you're first starting, your head voice will be not as thick and developed as your chest voice, over time it'll get there. Okay, so try those things. Try emulating the fire truck. Woo, woo, woo! Try the and when you get into your higher notes in your exercises, work on flipping into that head voice register. Okay, hopefully that helps. Thanks.